My primary definition would be content that was created with the purpose of being monetized.
Okay.
Where whether or not it's true, it doesn't matter. Whether it's high quality or not, it doesn't matter. It was just created to make money, which is something you don't care about. You don't care if the author made money with this content or not. So when you're looking at it, there's a chance you're looking at something good. There's a much higher chance you're looking at something pretty useless. And the unfortunate thing is that the internet is kind of like a pyramid where the bottom layers are all completely junk, right? It's content that was created just for SEO purposes. It's not even supposed to be looked at by humans. That's not what it was written for. As you get higher up the ladder, you get to sort of the yellow journalism type junk, which is still junk, right? It's still clickbait. And then as you get higher up, you expect things to be good. But the problem is, because most content has been monetized for the past 20 years, using ads and ads pay per click or per view, even the outlets you expect to be good have more and more junk in them. And so sometimes you'll have a really good article, even on, I don't know, let's use CNN as an example. You'll have a really good article, and then you'll have an article with a title like, "Stop what you're doing and watch this elephant play with bubbles." That's an actual CNN article in their news section. They tweeted about it. The tweet got a lot of shares. They actually put it in their RSS feed, so it ended up on Google News, which is how I found this article, right? But you have these two things on the same outlet, and then everything in between will be different levels of junk. So my approach has been, and maybe because that I'm an engineer, right? So I tend to think in these ways. Because I know there's a variance within each source, I'm not looking for the perfect source because it just doesn't exist. There are some sources that are better than others. A classic example would be financial news outlets. Why? Because if they misinform you, then you lose money and you cancel your subscription. So they tend to misinform people less often than not, right? If you go to a place like the Financial Times, most things are written in a way where they just state what they know and they don't state what they don't know. That said, even they have some oops moments. And so you can't really trust any single outlet at this point. You kind of have to look across multiple outlets to figure out what the reality is. There's another complication here, which is just knowing what is true in the world is not enough. You also need to know if half the world believes something untrue, what do they believe? Because without knowing that, you won't be able to predict what's happening next, right? And so if you look at something like the Israel-Gaza conflict, I don't just need to know what happened on the ground yesterday. I need to know what Israelis read about it, and I need to know what Palestinians read about it, because both of those are quite different from what actually happened on the ground. And I need to know all these three. What happened? What do these guys believe happened? What do these guys believe happened? If I know all three, I can predict what happens tomorrow with a fairly high degree of certitude. And so you kind of have to sample from multiple outlets. This is what we do in our platform. We sample from more than 900, and it's a very wide range. In American political terms, you can think of all the way from Breitbart to Mother Jones, right? That's kind of the range. Going beyond that, maybe beyond the pale, right? But within this range, we try to sample everything and then try to just look at each article on its merits and pick the best ones. And by best, we mean more informative, less persuasive. Because from our perspective, the purpose of news is to inform, not to persuade. And what we're seeing a lot in the news right now, if you kind of leaving the pure junk aside, is a lot of tendency towards narrative, tendency towards persuasion. So really basic example of that would be if the article describes a law, that's good. If it describes a common sense law or a draconian law, it's not good, right? I don't want the opinion of the writer about whether it's a common sense law or a draconian law. I just want to know what the law said. And if they're going to use these unnecessary adjectives, that's one of the things that our filters penalize them for.